Tech Reimagined, redefining the relationship between people and technology. Brought to you by Endava. This is Tech Reimagined.
Hello and welcome back to Tech Reimagined. I'm Bradley Howard and I'm glad to welcome you to the latest episode of our show. We're now full steam into season 3, in which we explore how technology is influencing the fabric of our society, how we live, the way we work, and how we do business. Please follow us on your favourite podcast platform to learn more from our visionary guests. Today's visionary guest is Kelly Baynes. She's the founder of the Lemon Quarters and the Nurture Network community, and a very dedicated and hardworking entrepreneur with a knack for refreshingly creative projects that help small leaders grow their audience and businesses. Welcome, Kelly. We really appreciate you spending some time with us today. We're going to be talking about the state of marketing in 2023 from your perspective. Can you give us an introduction into your background? And also, I'm really intrigued to know, where did the name from Lemon Quarters come from?
Sure, Bradley. Thanks very much for having me. Delighted to be here. Yeah, so Lemon Quarters, we're a content marketing agency. And for anybody who has a quick look at our website, the name comes from the love of yellow, lemons, and a long time of bad punning until we landed on Lemon Quarters as something that we liked. We're predominantly a content marketing agency for B2B, so business to business, and we focus on helping tech and financial services brands in the main have conversations with their audiences on the things that matter most to their people. So we build content marketing campaigns, really putting the audience at the heart and center of our activity through things like small online and offline events, workshops, round tables, and podcasts, and traditional written articles, infographics, and social media. I think we get so used to being talked at. My stuff is the best. It's better than their stuff. Oh, you need to buy my stuff. And as consumers or business buyers, we really recognised that it was a little bit, shall we say, an egocentric approach to a lot of marketing, a lot of content marketing, particularly in the B2B space. And myself and my co-founder, Mary Claire, we felt it was really doing a bit of a disservice to the very people, to the customers it was trying to reach. So we really want to help our clients to build meaningful, long-term relationships with their audiences that are based on trust and building an affinity or an understanding of the audience. We're also really interested in helping clients understand, where that intersection is between doing right and standing up for what's right, through things like equality, diversity, inclusion, mental health, well-being and sustainability. So we focus a lot of time on working with our clients on how to explore those topics and really add a human face or a human touch to their marketing efforts.
And straight into some of the questions around marketing. What's your view of marketing now that we've moved into cookieless advertising?
Yeah, the cookieless world it's been talked about in marketing for a while, and I think Google have now pushed their rollback back to, I think the latest I saw was at least 2024. But I think it's really important for us as marketers that we use that time to just get our ducks in a row. Cookies, in a way, they're a little bit of a lazy tool or a bit of a shortcut to kind of piggyback on that long-term data and almost reach audiences where the trusts or the relationship hadn't really been earned or sort of deserved. So, I think first and foremost as marketing, it's really about being back to basics, focusing on quality. Actually, as an aside, I don't think that's just the job of marketing. I think that's, an all-hands approach throughout the organisation. But I do think that marketing has a sort of a special position or a unique position to be the advocate, the eyes and the ears for the customers back to their company. Ultimately, no one has the right to their audience's attention. It's got to be earned. And I think quality and trust is sort of the beginning and the end of that. So the challenge or the question for us to answer as companies and as marketeers is, how can I reach my audience or the people that matter to me in a way that offers value to them? And I think that largely means that looking at, what is the data, what first party data do we have on our audience, and inviting our audiences into a conversation it's a callback, I guess, to putting the needs of the audience central to our messages. So I think on a practical level, it's understanding what data exists in a business already, and then also what value you need to provide as a business, as a marketing department, a marketing function, to encourage customers to say, yes, I'm willing to share our information, our data with you. I think a good content marketing strategy where it's doing good, not just saying good, is key to evolving to a cookieless world, should it come to pass.
And based on that answer, do you still think there's a big difference between B2B marketing and B2C? Because you're still interacting with a person at the end of the day who's going to buy, whether it's for themselves personally or for their business.
Yeah, no, really great question. Honestly, I think there's very little difference ultimately in B2B and B2C. Some of the creativity and reach will end, but ultimately we're all people, and there is some great research around the B2B buyer. So the business buyer is often more emotionally driven when it comes to making purchasing decisions, because it's not just a personal buying decision, it has wider organizational and professional implications. So often the emotion that goes into a B2B purchasing decision is felt more. And I think traditionally B2B marketing has been a very safe and staid place. That's changing, which I think is great to see.
Do you see any particular trends appearing in the next 12 months in terms of content consumption and advertising?
Yeah, I think when it comes to content consumption, it kind of feels like we're looking at a bit of a continuation of, some of what we saw sort of coming out from the post-pandemic trends. So snackable content, and what I mean by that is kind of short form content, so be it videos or audios, basically content that can be engaged with on the go, the takeaway coffee cup of content, if you will. I read a content consumption report the other day. Now, the sample audience was pretty time poor. It was entrepreneurs and digital marketeers, but it was something along the lines of 74% preferred skimmable content over longer content forms. So I think making things easy for your audience is and will continue to be super important. We've talked about this for a little while, but video content and advertising is it's set to explode even more than it has done. I saw eMarketeer, which are a trends consultancy. I think they're predicting it to be somewhere in the region of about 93 billion in ad spend in the US this year alone. So video content and snackable sort of short form content, I think is key. And I think then when it comes to sort of my slice of the pie, if you like, in B2B, I think we will see the emergence of B2B influencers sort of continue to gain traction. SurveyMonkey, who I think I now call Momentive, ran a really interesting campaign the tail end of last year, using the actor who plays Gus Fring in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul to create what was a really viral and shareable campaign across a lot of what turned out to be earned media rather than paid media. So I think that use of influencing and influencers in B2B is something that will continue to rise.
I look forward to seeing a legal firm using the guy from Better Call Saul.
I'm sure it will be there. You've just inspired some people to scribble down some notes there.
What are the top 3 marketing lessons that you learned last year in 2022?
I'm not sure how much of these are exclusively marketing lessons. They might come across as business lessons, but I think the first is really around the value that you give to your clients, to your audience, is one that gets rewarded. If you make the value, make it interesting, make it educational, make it worthy of their time, and they will reward you with their time, with their interest. So really that's sort of the top, I guess, continuing lesson. I'm not sure if it's a new one, but it's something that's certainly been reinforced throughout 2022. On a wider note, I think be authentic. Again, not sure if that's just a solely marketing lesson, but we live in a noisy world. And I think we're all getting a bit of a nose for the inauthentic. And I think building a brand and building a marketing brand is really about showing up and being honest with your audience. I think one of the shall we call it, marketing errors or fails of last year was, I'm not sure if you came across it, but OVO Energy, who are a UK energy supplier, issued a campaign advising their customers to do things like eat porridge or cuddle their pets or do star jumps to keep warm and keep living costs to a minimum. And it really just hit a bit of an inauthentic and bum note when it comes to walking in their client's shoe or in their customer's shoes, and it wasn't very genuine. And then I think the last one, again, is probably a bit more of a life lesson than a marketing lesson, but I think a little experimentation is always fun. So from a Lemon Quarters Nurture Network point of view, we've started sticking our toes into sort of having a bit more of a personal look at what we refer to ourselves as the lemon heads behind the business, myself and Mary Claire. And we've done some work around, being involved a bit more in podcasts and videos around who we are as business founders, working mums, and also fans of the yellow.
That's exactly why we started this podcast as well, to demonstrate some of our personalities and demonstrate that we're inquisitive and we like finding out information from people, because it's just the curious people that we are at Endava. So it's really interesting hearing that from you straight away. So what are your plans for the business for the rest of this year?
So for 2023, our phrase of the year is go big.
For reference, Kelly just took a seat forward and onto the edge of her chair when she said go big.
I did, yeah. A little bit of a lift myself up there. Yeah. So we've got a lot of client work for the first quarter. So we're doing a lot of work around female founders and helping create some sort of peer-led content, really showcasing the wealth of talent there is for female founders, and also helping small businesses to look at building resilience and hearing from the ground what's happening. We're also looking at ramping up the next phase of Nurture Network, which is sort of taking that from a large community that's a little bit, I suppose, do it yourself feel, to sort of allowing our members to engage with each other on their own terms. So go big is the phrase for this year.
Best of luck with that. Do you see any big waves of change in creativity in the angle of advertising or marketing in the next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way people are changing or engaging with brands is changing. We spoke a little earlier about how people are looking for more of a relationship with their brand. And we're seeing that play out through increased membership schemes, loyalty schemes, and I think the biggest change to that is ensuring that there is diverse perspectives and talents represented in creativity. We need to represent the people that we're trying to reach. So if we're not embracing the diversity of the world, we're sort of almost doing a disservice to our customers. I don't think we get creative if we all think, look, act, dress the same. So great work will bond creatives, but we need to represent the people that we are. You see it with the Cannes Lion Festival. They've released some new awards for this year around diversity and inclusion and sustainability and impact. So I think that speaks to the importance of representing who we serve as clients. Also think we're going to see a nice little change when it comes to reaching the next generation. So Gen Alpha, which is the ones who were born after 2010, the same year as the iPad. And they're also the largest generation of future consumers. So I think there's going to be a lot of change in how we reach those new generations. So it's exciting, really exciting.
I would imagine their attention span would be about 1.5 seconds by that time.
If that.
Thank you, Kelly, so much. It was really insightful. I learned a huge amount in that, including Generation Alpha coming soon. Thanks for joining us today. You mentioned a podcast. Where can people find that podcast?
So like all podcasts, our podcast is available on all channels. It's called Find Your Business Voice. So go to your favourite podcast place and it will be there.
Thank you very much. This has been Kelly Baynes and Bradley Howard. Until next week, please don't forget to share and subscribe.